Hello students, you are welcome to lesson 7 of AEM 303, Agrarian Institution and their Management Plans. The topic of our discussion today will be on green regulation and Nigerian river basin system. I believe you all enjoy lesson 6. Lesson 7 will be very interesting. I assure you that you enjoy this topic. Stay put and listen. I am your course facilitator, Dr. Helen Inyang. Thank you. Once again, our topic of discussion today is green revelation and Nigerian river basin system as topic 7. Introduction. The whole world is faced with an estimated 806 million 786 million hungry people. However, the original Green Revolution promised to end hunger through miracle seeds, but this was not achieved, and then called for Green Revolution 2. That is the first one. They started it with their miracle seed, but it wasn't possible. They have to call for the second Green Revolution. This second Green Revolution will save the world from hunger and starvation if various companies such as Monsanto, Novartia, Agri-Evo, DuPont, and other commercial companies who are reinvesting themselves as biotechnology companies are allowed to perform their magic. So the principle of river basin is as old as the settlement of early man along fertile river valleys. So the role of River Basins Authority will be examined in this lesson. Nigerian involvement with the concepts of river basin system began with the establishment of the Lectured Basins Commission. That was in 1964. These organs for socio-economic development of lake area comprises such boundary countries as Niger, Chad, Republic of Benin, and Nigeria. So the objectives of these lessons are by the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the trends of first Green Revolution. You draw lessons from the Green Revolution and how the lessons could be useful in Nigeria. Trace the historical development of Nigerian river basin system, and then identify the programs embarked upon by the River Basin Authority in Nigeria. Then discuss the relevance of River Basin Authority in Nigeria. River Basin Authority sponsors program of resources inventory, mapping water resources, survey as a basic for comprehensive agricultural development, and road development to link participatory countries. We said that it was these countries, when they were trying to make up our Lake Chad, so they carried out a project on Lake Chad. It was 4 countries that make up those riverine area. That is we have the Chad, we have the Niger, Republic of Benin, and Nigeria. So you see these the Pacific countries now, the Pacific project undertaken to dates include cattle range near Meduguri, rehabilitation of water boreholes, and then groundwater investigation of about 4,040.49 hectares on Yobe Rivers Basin. South Chad irrigation project, geological mapping of sedimentary areas around lakes, locust control, also fishery research, pearl and pepper extraction from the basin's abundant pepperous growth, and contour mapping of basin areas. So they also make sure that they check all these things, they put them in place, they mapped out the water resources survey, and then they embark on a comprehensive agricultural development as well as road development to link all these participatory countries. The participatory countries, like I said, is the Chad, the Niger, and Republic of Benin, as well as Nigeria. So River Basins Commission comprises of 9 riverine nations. So the Commission has been very active in the task of promoting and coordinating studies, relations, and programs for optimum utilization of land and water resources of the basins in terms of irrigation, hydropower, and navigation. So the specific function of river basins authorities are to 1. Undertake comprehensive development of both surface and underground water resources for multi-purpose uses. 2. Undertake scheme for control of floods and erosion and for watershed management. 3. Construct and maintain dams, dikes, pollens, wells, boreholes, irrigation and drainage system, and other work necessary for the achievement of authorities' function under this section. 4. To develop irrigation scheme for production of crops and livestock, and to lend the irrigated land to farmers or recognized association in localities of the areas concerned for a fee to be determined by the authority concerned with approval of the commission. You see, what they do, they make sure that they provide develop irrigational schemes for production of crops and livestock, and not only that, they lend this land that they have already provided with irrigation to farmers to cultivate, and then the price will be collected. I believe the price is always so minimal, just they want to help the farmers to earn a living. So, and it will subject to approval of the authority or the commissioner, so of agriculture. So they now lend out this land for the farmers who do not have land to cultivate, and even the livestock, they construct the pens and then stock them and then give it out to the farmers to cultivate or to rear. All these things at the end they will collect at least not much money. The money that they will collect will not be so much, the rents will not be so much that the farmers will not be able to make profits after everything. They also provide water for reservoirs, wells and boreholes under the control of authority concerned for urban and rural water supply scheme on request by state government and when directed to do so by the commissioner. So all these things, they did it. Reservoir, reservoir is where water is being reserved. So during the maybe shortest of water, they can now pump out water from the reservoir for the irrigation of the crops and also for the feeding of animals and other things. The 6th one is that they develop fisheries and improve for navigation of rivers, lakes and reservoirs and lagoons in authorities areas. while number 7 is processed crops and livestock produce. They also help in controlling pollution in rivers and lake in the authorities areas in accordance with national laydown standards. They control erosion or pollution. They also make sanctions that those maybe having industries in the riverine areas, they should not channel their waste products into the river so that it will not cause harm to the liver, to the aqua micro. Third one is crop livestock development programs. This program involves water requirement for crops in terms of irrigation and livestock enterprise in terms of stock water. There's the stock water, the reserve water. Then the 4 major programs relevant in Nigeria are irrigation, agriculture, stock water development, water meant for the animals, soil water crops, and fishes and drought-resistant crops. Those are their major concern. The 4 major programs that they embark on. They embark on irrigational system, irrigated agriculture. That means the cultivation is done throughout the year, whether during the dry season or rainy season. They also involves on stock water development, where they stock water for animal use. Soil water crops, they embark on all those crops that love water, and also fisheries and drought-resistant crops. They make sure that they have those so that even when there is drought, their plants will not actually die like that. So fishery programs. The programs here includes river fisheries, resorts canals fisheries, aquaculture fisheries, swampland fisheries, shrimp farming, and crab farming. So they embark on all this and also have people also carrying out these activities. They encourage people to come in and do that in the river basins area. Also, they embark on settlement development programs. Here, River Basins Development Authority plans for orderly development of settlements. They advocate for principle of homestead study, which includes development of villages, resettlement of villages, and production on enterprise. That means they make sure they build low-cost houses for the settlers, for the rural dwellers, for those people living around that area. So is their problem of lack of accommodation and also other residential facilities. They make sure that so that the farmers will be comfortable in order to be able to. So the organization of such a scheme with the context of the village will turn to ensure better cooperation and efficient management of the enterprise. So this will help in better cooperation and efficient management of the enterprise. Fourth one, that is effects. Effect is on a resource mobilization which has been considered in isolation of national endowment and out of context of resources use problem and efficiency. They help in a resource mobilization such as capitals as well as inputs in order to enhance effective production as well as rural development. There is also implication for the structure of farms and the food production problem. That is, they help once the farm, they now help to make sure that a farmer will own up to 5 hectares of land. So at least they have been able to make impacts on this, and this will eventually give room to increase in production. Then the ease of food production or food scarcity will be, or the problem of food scarcity will be reduced to the barest minimum. There is effects on production input management, which up till now has been in the state of flux or constant changes. So they also encourage the production input management, how they will be able to obtain these resources and how to manage it. Even when they will not be able to use it, they can also help them for the storage, how to store farming season. Then the seventh one is, on the part of government policy, it is essential that food development policy formulation should begin at the grassroots. That's grassroots problem isolation level, that is the rural areas where the actual farming is taking place. So the aggregation of such isolated food production problem for all villages in the region is converted into a set of manageable commitment which forms the body of food production policy for that region. See, and maybe at the end of it, they may end up forming a cooperative that will ease their production and also help them in training them and also save their money for them and also give them loan to be able to carry out productive activities. So there is also the need to integrate food research activities with information dissemination and with food production system in two-way flows. So that is the implications of on rural development in rural development. So also, aside from Operation Feed the Nation, government of Nigeria had embarked on other agricultural strategies and bodies to ensure adequate food production for the entire populace, both at national and state levels. So some of these agricultural strategy includes the Green Revolution, which we have just finished discussing, Operation Go Back to Land, the Nigerian Directorate for Employment, that is to empower the youth in various capacity, including agriculture. Then we also have agricultural development projects being supported by the World Bank. All these are to help alleviate or increase the productivity, food production in the nation. The nation will also will help to eradicate food insecurity in the nation. So finally, the analysis, if the history of Green Revolution has taught us one thing, it is that food production can and often go hand in hand with greater hunger. If the very basis of staying competitive in farming is buying expensive inputs, then the wealthier farmer will inexorably win out over the poor. As they win, because they are the one that will have money to buy those expensive inputs, farm machineries and others, improve breed of animals, improve varieties of seeds. So who are unlikely to find adequate employment to compensate for the loss of farming livelihood, because those are the people that will be able to win out. So hunger is not caused by shortage of food and cannot be eliminated by producing more. This is why one must be skeptical when Monsanto, DuPont, Navitis, and other chemical co-biotechnology companies were of opinion that genetic engineering will boost crop yield and feed the hungry. So the technology they push have dubious benefits and with documented risks. They have dubious benefit and well-documented risks. And this second green revolution they promise is more likely to end hunger than the first one. So far too many people do not have access to food that is already available because of deep and growing inequality. Yes, inequality all over, because it is the rich that will continue to be rich while the poor continue to be poorer. So if agriculture can play any role in alleviating hunger, it will only be to the extent that the bias toward wealthy and larger farmers is reversed through poor alternatives like land reform and sustainable agriculture, which reduce inequality and make small farmers the center of economically vibrant economy. In conclusion, we know that green revolution provides for the needs of the poor and improve their standard of living. Green revolution could not tell the poor country to reform its economics and also political system, but they could contribute invaluable expertise in food production. River basins programs involves comprehensive law and water resources meant for planting and implementing feasible projects. So the various programs embarked upon include water development program, land crops, livestock programs, fishery program, and settlement development program. The various categories of agrarian institutions, which range from social structure to economic agrarian institutions, have implications for rural development in all ramifications. So there is the need to take proper care for food management. So the structure of farm and food production itself have to be looked into. Then there is also need for effective management of primary production inputs and involvement of system for effectively saving produce, because effectively saving produce becomes very real under the village development projects. Summary. In this lesson, efforts were made to itemize contribution of Green Revolution program and the lesson for developing countries like Nigeria. The specific function of River Basins Development Authority were spelled out in this lesson, including various programs embarked upon by river basin authorities. The implication of agrarian institutions was drawn for national development. It was pointed out that food development policy formulation should begin at the grassroots problems and solution level. Explain the implication of agrarian, as you we'll discuss this during the live class facilitation. Explain the implication of agrarian institution for national development. Thank you for listening. In our next facilitation, we'll now revise what we have done from week 1 to week 7. So we'll meet next week Wednesday.